The U.S. Canada relationship, once a global model of cooperation, now faces its greatest test. Decades of stability are threatened by political rhetoric and economic measures, sending shockwaves far beyond North America. Years of simmering tensions over trade, security, and sovereignty have brought the two nations to the brink of a trade war. With $3.6 billion in daily trade at stake, millions of jobs and the idea of a stable international order hang in the balance. The conflict centers on clashing leadership styles: an America-first U.S. administration versus a Canadian government defending its sovereignty. New tariffs and rising unemployment have chilled cross-border relations, affecting everything from tourism to family ties. As of October 5, 2025, a single remark from the U.S. president has triggered outrage and economic backlash in Canada. A high-stakes summit between President Trump and Prime Minister Carney could either de-escalate the crisis or deepen the divide. The world watches, uncertain if this historic partnership can be salvaged. The stakes are global, and the outcome will shape the future of alliances everywhere. The question: is the damage already irreparable? The current crisis is the result of years of growing friction and eroding trust. Cracks appeared long before the latest diplomatic incident, rooted in trade disputes that challenged North American integration. The March 2025 U.S. tariff on Canadian cars struck at the heart of Canada's manufacturing sector, signaling a new era of confrontation. Prime Minister Carney, elected in April, declared the old relationship over, calling the U.S. an unreliable partner. This marked a shift in Canadian foreign policy, with a consensus to diversify alliances and reduce dependence on the U.S. Carney's pointed rebuke to Trump. "Some places are never for sale," underscored Canada's resolve. Canada began pivoting strategically, seeking closer ties with the UK, France, and Australia, and exploring new defense pacts. The deteriorating relationship forced Canada to chart a new, more independent course. The old partnership is gone. A new era of uncertainty has begun. The world is watching Canada's next move. The fragile truce shattered on October 1, 2025, when President Trump made a provocative remark to military leaders. Discussing Canada's interest in the Golden Dome missile defense system, he quipped, "Why don't you just join our country? Become the 51st state and you get it for free." For Canadians, this was a profound insult to national identity and sovereignty. The comment, delivered with Trump's trademark bravado, was met with outrage across Canada's political spectrum. MPs declared the joke was no longer funny, seeing it as a blatant pattern of disrespect. Coming alongside new tariffs, the remark was viewed as an attempt to humiliate a key ally. The incident transformed a policy debate into a public spectacle about Canada's right to exist as an independent nation. The upcoming Trump-Carney meeting, once routine, is now a showdown over respect and dignity. Carney faces immense pressure to demand an apology and stand firm. The 51st state jibe has galvanized Canadian public opinion, leaving little room for compromise. The stakes for both leaders have never been higher. On the same day as Trump's remark, the U.S. unleashed a new round of aggressive tariffs on Canadian goods: a 100% tariff on Canadian pharmaceuticals, 50% on kitchen cabinets, 30% on furniture, and 25% on heavy trucks targeted key industries. These measures, building on earlier auto tariffs, have devastated Canada's economy. The tariffs are not just negotiation tactics, they're a direct assault on Canadian workers and businesses. Canada is a critical supplier of oil, electricity, steel, and minerals to the U.S., making the tariffs a double-edged sword. While intended to protect American jobs, the tariffs risk higher costs and supply chain disruptions for U.S. consumers and industries. The 100% pharmaceutical tariff could lead to shortages and price hikes for American patients. The interconnected economies mean economic attacks on Canada inevitably hurt the U.S. as well. The escalating trade war is inflicting pain on both sides of the border. The debate now centers on whether either nation can afford to continue down this path. The consequences are mounting, with no easy solutions in sight. Canada's response to U.S. pressure has been swift and resolute. Prime Minister Carney's government is preparing support measures for affected workers and industries, signaling a refusal to capitulate. Canada is readying its own counter-tariffs and exploring a wide range of retaliatory options. A powerful grassroots boycott of American products has emerged, uniting Canadians in defiance. The government is leveraging the upcoming USMCA review as a point of pressure, confident that U.S. businesses hurt by tariffs will demand change. The USMCA, once a Trump triumph, is now a battleground. The combination of the 51st state comment and crippling tariffs has unified Canadians against U.S. tactics. Carney's firm stance has broad public support, reflecting a nation pushed too far. The national mood is one of defiance, not despair. Canada is signaling it values the U.S. relationship, but not at the cost of sovereignty or economic dignity. The world sees a country unwilling to be bullied. The next moves will define Canada's future. The stakes are existential. The trade war's impact is already severe on both sides of the border. Canada's unemployment has surged, with businesses forced to cut jobs due to U.S. tariffs. Once prosperous industries now face deep uncertainty and hardship. The U.S. is not immune. Canada is the top export market for 36 states, and American farmers and manufacturers are feeling the pain. The $3.6 billion daily trade flow supports millions of jobs in both countries. As trade slows, political pressure mounts on both governments. Beyond economics, the conflict is causing a social rift. Anti-American sentiment is rising in Canada, affecting personal relationships and travel. The border, once a symbol of friendship, is now a line of division. The sense of a shared North American community is eroding. Social fallout may prove harder to repair than economic damage. Rebuilding trust could take years, if not a generation. Experts warn the dispute is a dangerous, unpredictable confrontation. President Trump's aggressive tactics are seen as extortion, challenging the rules-based international system. Prime Minister Carney faces immense pressure. Appear strong or risk political ruin. The U.S. strategy is risky too, as economic pain grows for American businesses and workers. The upcoming USMCA review is a flashpoint, with both sides under pressure to find a solution. This is a high-stakes game of political chicken, with both leaders racing toward a potential collision. The Trump-Carney summit could offer a chance to de-escalate, or push the crisis further. The outcome will shape North America's future. The White House sees aggressive tactics as necessary to rebalance trade, believing Canada will eventually yield. With most Canadian exports destined for the U.S., Washington thinks it holds the upper hand. But new tariffs risk backlash from American voters and key industries. Canada hopes to mobilize U.S. business and labor opposition to force moderation. The Trump-Carney meeting could result in a truce, a stalemate, or even a surprise breakthrough. Both leaders face unpredictable risks and opportunities. The next week will be pivotal for the relationship. The world waits for the outcome. The U.S.-Canada conflict is a bellwether for global alliances. If two deeply connected nations can be pushed to the brink, what does it mean for the future of international cooperation? The dispute tests the rules-based order, with power politics challenging diplomatic norms. The economic stakes are global. Disruption would ripple through supply chains and markets worldwide. The outcome will define the nature of alliances and the balance between national interest and global cooperation. The world is watching to see what kind of order will emerge. The once quiet border is now the front line in a larger struggle. The future of global stability may depend on what happens next.